on a roll where myself and these other 5 lovely individuals get together to play Dungeons and Dragons. Now, last week, the group had entered the mysterious, fog-shrouded city of Worthy. A city that in recent months had come under the terrible effects and affliction of a mysterious plague. Entering into the city and doing some cursory looks around, you found that in place of guards, instead this city seems to have adopted plague doctors that roam the streets and keep an eye on things. The city itself, the tenants of it, seem to have this perpetual air of just tension and sort of gloom just hanging over them at all points in time. You spoke with some people at the Temple to the Raven Queen. You spoke with a number of different patrons of a bar, as well as a couple bartenders in a couple different inns. You even encountered one of these plague doctors and had a little bit of an off-putting conversation with them. They seem to speak not directly. It was a little bit off-putting. So, with the question, or with the idea of Duran's to investigate this graveyard, you guys had decided to, that night, maybe go and check something out, but were interrupted, or had a little quick change of plans, when you heard that the Lord and Lady of Worthy, Logain and Michelle Sanvinique, were making a trip through the streets of Worthy, handing out aid and coin to the people that need it. Demetrius decided to attempt to make his way past the barricade of plague doctors that were keeping the people out of the streets and at bay, and was quickly tackled, dragged down, and a little bit of a scene ensued. After a failed attempt to charm the assailant, him, as well as the rest of you, well, really just Era, as she was the one that spoke up, were approached by Michelle Sanvinique and given a very even-voiced, calm, but foreboding first and only warning. You guys found your way to an inn with really nobody occupying the rooms. You had your pick. You purchased some rooms for the evening, had a bit of conversation, and decided against heading to the graveyard that night. Maybe wanting some of the attention and heat that you had drawn to yourselves to give it some time to cool down a little bit. But you guys had your rest. You woke up the next morning, and that is where you find yourselves now, in the sitting around a table together at the, what was it called? Goodly Spirits Inn and Tavern. What would you like to do?
Okay, so maybe it's just me, but it seemed like those guys kind of came out of nowhere. So like they weren't there, and then they kind of were. So I'm not sure there's any amount of, getting around them.
Yeah.
It would be difficult to... If they're appearing out of nowhere, then we're definitely being watched, but I don't know exactly how risky it'll be to guys as one of them. They seem to come and go as they please, so they might realize quickly. And the last thing I want to do is put more attention on us after yesterday's performance.
Oh, right. What exactly did you do, Demetrius, when you stepped out?
I was trying to get a closer look.
Well, they said you used some kind of magic. What kind of magic? I mean, did you? Or what kind was it?
I attempted to charm somebody.
And it didn't seem to work, right? Does it usually work when you do that? I mean, you've probably. Uh,
I like to think it works a good bit. But
so
enough of this. I've made a fool of myself, and
no, it's actually kind of maybe useful because, like, why wouldn't it work? What are the options for the reasons why it wouldn't work? Is it that they're maybe, I don't know, not people? Or, like, are they protected somehow from magic?
I mean, there is always a chance of the magic not working, but what you're explaining may not be very far off either. For example, if I try to attempt to use spell on Duron, there is a chance that it may or may not work. Would you like to test it out, Duron?
No, thank you. I'm quite all right.
Just
Excellent.
test it.
Well, I know that sometimes magic just doesn't work randomly, but like, if it usually works.
milady, I am far from my comfort zone. So I've not really been this far away from home before.
He called me a lady.
He seems to do that to women a lot. And again, you are a lady. Or, I mean, except Rond, we are all ladies. I mean, we got the titles.
Oh, that
As
is
Neri
fine.
is my bad. As Neri is talking with Elevorn, could I attempt to peer out the window?
Yeah. So, as Neri and Elevorn, you continue the conversation. Era stands up and heads to the window that looks out over the street, and you can see that there is this sort of clinging, wispy mist that sort of lingers on the roads. It's not nearly as thick as it was last night, but it just does seem to linger a bit as the morning draws on. What are you looking for?
Is there any of the plague doctors in sight?
Make a perception check.
Okay. 9.
9. There aren't that many people, and the further away from your your viewpoint right now, the more that even though it is a light, wispy mist, the more that you look through, the more it does accumulate and obfuscate what's further away from you. So you see a fair amount of people beginning their days, it seems, but you don't spot any of the plague doctors.
I'm going to detect thoughts, and I want to push deeper onto, I guess, a passerby, whoever I can see that's in range.
Okay. So what's the range of it?
Let me see. 30 feet.
Okay, so you're probably not gonna get too much before they end up walking out of your range, but you detect thoughts, and as someone, you can see them walking, and they get into your range across the street, and you cast the spell, and you pick up the initial thoughts. It's just the destination where they're going to, what they have for their job today. Then you push deeper as they cross directly in front of you and continue on, and you get thoughts of, well, at least it wasn't me. Another day survived. And poor, uh, poor individuals. When will this stop? And then you get these like thoughts and images of him waking up in the morning and like recalling his trek and seeing newly boarded up houses or buildings that weren't there the night before. But by that time he's gotten there, he's out of the range of the spell.
I'm going probably slightly irritated. I kind of just head out the door or
Okay.
make my way to leave the inn.
Okay.
Where are you going, Era?
Well, you said we needed to test, right? I'm just gonna find or try to find more information. It seems as if more houses were boarded up last night.
Should we join you, or
Unless you guys have a plan or an idea, then maybe it's best if we communicate. I'd say someone keep watch of the window in case they see well, anything will help at this point, but I'm not going to straight up cast any magic in front of them. But if I can focus and have people talk or think about the night before, I don't know. The next best bet is to check one of the houses as well, which Duran had recommended in the past, I believe.
In broad
Yeah.
daylight, that might be extremely difficult, but if you want to go investigate, I believe I've made probably the least amount of noise, so I could go with you.
I feel as you are, you will attract attention. Olivorn, do you have any spells that could get us by? I plan to... well, I mean, if you guys want me to check the inside of one of these houses, I can polymorph into something small and sneak in through the crevices. That's one way.
There aren't any crevices, they're all sealed. I mean, we saw that when we were there last night. Or not last night exactly, but the evening.
Yeah.
So I do have some abilities prepared now that I didn't have the night before, and also there is a point that, you know, we aren't really here to solve this problem, so we need to decide how we want to do the order of what we want to do. Like, if we get in trouble and get thrown in some kind of jail or expelled from the town, one of the two, we can't do the other thing we're here to do. So, depending on what's important to us, we need to decide that now before anything else happens.
Yeah, you're very correct about that. I mean, we really aren't here to solve this precise problem, but I wonder how much this will, you know, we were
And what if this
warned,
directly affects
can't
that?
get out.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is maybe we could try to find the guy, you know, and also see, like, what we can see while we do that. And, I mean, this is a little bit strange, I guess. I mean, I know that you're, you know, here isn't the place. I'm going to grab Mary Dawn's hand and take her, like, up to one of the rooms.
Sure.
Hug her.
I'll let her do that. And
All right.
Follow, yes.
Gonna look at Durand and shrug. I'm still gonna head out, Durand. I won't do anything, but I guess maybe I need to clear my head and go for a stroll. I won't stay too far.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to be more active in the best way that I can using the abilities that I have.
Well, I suppose I'd still like to go with you. I think it'd be less suspicious that way. Despite
Right.
my drawing attention, I guess, as you mentioned, two people walking together rather than one person wandering on their own in a big old town is probably less suspicious.
I'll punch his shoulder / armor and continue walking forward. Listen, there's nothing that stands out more than a red tiefling and a blue gigantic, well, you.
Hmm.
But I suppose you're not wrong. I could use the company after all. What would, is Duck with us? Yes, right?
Demetrius? He's still down there, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm still here.
apologies. Oh, he's there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you want to come too.
I'll follow you for a moment.
Okay.
Hmm.
Again, we're
Oh,
not planning
no.
anything. We're just simply going for a stroll.
Sounds good. Ella, Neri?
Okay, so for a month, Ella's just gonna be like, okay, so I know the night keepers were like in Basildon and at Brushburn and like other places because you've been all over places, But are there like, I mean, would there be something like that here? Do you think you could find something like that? Do you think maybe this guy is part of something like that? I know that we can't tell other people, so I didn't want to say it in front of them.
I mean, I can always try to look if I can see any of, thieves' marks and stuff like that. If we go out and about, I didn't think about it when we came in. And I mean, I'm not saying that us night keepers necessarily. I mean, we are more experts on stealing things and not just, well, who knows? Maybe there might be.
I just thought, I mean, it'd be really great if we could contact the Marion or something, but I don't think we can. I mean, maybe Eric could, but then I have no idea how to. Well, that would be a big lie.
And I mean, Era has seen Marion, but she doesn't know, who he is.
Yeah, and
And
you.
it would be weird for her to contact and ask. And I don't know. I mean, I could always ask Era if she could put that spell in my ring, but I would have to lose my. As I put this one spell in it, and it could maybe get us in, at least myself and one other person inside the graveyard, but
Okay, well, I don't know what spell that is, but maybe Era has that spell, or maybe I don't know that new guy was using magic. I don't know what he has. Maybe we could find out. Maybe we could just casually ask.
asking people who, well, I mean, yeah. We don't really know anything about him, really, so asking about his spells, I guess that's one way to try to figure him out.
Well, it wouldn't be personal questions, right? Kind of. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is personal questions. I don't know
Yeah,
how people get magic.
I don't know either. I mean, I don't even know how I got my magic. It's weird. I didn't get many of it, but magic is so weird.
Maybe it's because you helped Bask. I don't know.
Maybe it's because I've helped you and Bask and everyone else who has magic. Yeah,
Just sort of rub off on you. Anyway, we should go
maybe.
find the others.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I mean, if for out, you can keep an eye out and see what you see. But maybe we can figure this out.
Let's hope so. And like you said earlier before you tracked me up here, I mean, trying to find the guy who we were supposed to come and find isn't a bad idea at all. I mean, he probably has been here longer than us. Who even knows if he might even live here, but I mean, he might know something more than we do, so.
Well, I mean, he's kind of a bad guy, but yeah. I mean, right? We're supposed to take him out, or I don't know what we're supposed to. There was just totally get rid of an organization because they're doing stuff to people that's bad.
Yeah. Well, let's go with the others, or at least Air. I don't know if anybody else left with her, but
Oh, yeah, totally. And we'll make sure that Demetrius comes too.
yeah. We'll track him by force if it's necessary.
Alright. So, Dran, Demetrius, you're on your stroll. You don't know the city. You know vaguely where you are. You seem to be near the center of the city. You can see further north to a place that you haven't seen or haven't traveled to yet before. There is an inner set of walls that has a very similar to what you had seen outside of it wall of fog that just cascades up it. And above the wall, you can see towering above is a large keep. And that's where you would assume it looks like the Lord and Lady of Worthy would stay. That it has that sort of imposing, watchful presence about it, and its position is not in the center like how Brushburns was, or even Grandor, but it is sort of tucked in the um, northwestern corner of the city, so it sort of watches over the entire city from the back. The other direction is where you would have come into the city. That's where you would have been to the first pub that you went into, where the temple to the Raven Queen is, where the graveyard was. There's also a lot more city that you hadn't explored yet, and in that direction, according to Alexander, would be where his residence is as well.
I'd like to summon Eva and have her fly up into the sky and kind of just circle around us as we're walking.
All right. The bones of the skeletal hawk rattle together and soar up into the sky, just keeping an aerial view of the city itself. Like I said, if you want to look for something in particular, let me know. Or what is the goal? What's the intent?
Does anyone see the bird?
I would assume he does it in a place you just maybe, I don't know, he's a showman. Demetrius, are you doing this? Gather around, watch everybody.
Oh my god. No, it's
no,
not
it was supposed to be more of a sort of behind me thing and have her fly up into the air. Kind of out of view.
Yeah, just duck into an alleyway real quick and just let it go, and then you can see the bird and the skeletal bird Durand, and you watch it and you can make it out, but for somebody that didn't see it or doesn't know what it is, it's keeping at such a height that it's hard to tell what it is exactly.
I was just maybe I asked it before, but I was curious as to whether it was something only he could see or
No,
other people
everyone
could.
can see. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
invisible. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Excellent. While we're still in the alley, can I just send a message to Alexander?
Sure.
Excellent. Okay. Because I just realized I could do it.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Well, my team and I have arrived. We'll be exploring the city soon enough. So if you got any messages or advice, where to look, well, we'll be in the area.
Okay. There's maybe about 15, 20 seconds before you get a response. You hear this kind of just woke up kind of voice coming, like you woke him up from his sleep.
Well, rude.
I suppose it is good to hear that you have made it safely to Worthy. I myself only arrived late last night, so I might be a bit. Might need a bit of recuperation time. But yes, I suppose. If you wanted to stop by, I would be very welcome to hearing what it is that you have in mind. For myself, I'm going to try to get a little bit of a nap in.
I'm gonna look at Durand and Demetrius, and I guess I'm thinking out loud.
Okay.
Last night, he came last night. Was it before or after the fog? Interesting. He kind of just sits there, lost in thought.
So this is probably really obvious and a really dumb question to ask at this point. Magic is easy to tell if somebody is using it, right?
Oh yeah, if because
Mhm.
there's the hand gestures, there's an incantation. It's a little bit of a process, and then she is speaking out loud afterwards, and you have seen the sending spell cast before. So
Okay.
now who exactly she's talking to? Maybe you could make it out via context, but
No, I just needed to, I guess, confirm that because I figured I just didn't want to say it at a place like I have already
yeah. If they
meta
have
magic before.
Yeah, it depends on the spell whether it has like the somatic or verbal components, but I believe sending does. So
Okay.
It'll be difficult to tell because I speak with hand gestures as well. If you didn't know that, you know that no. Know it now.
So I guess Durand, after hearing that, would be wondering regardless whether he knew who she was talking to or not. It doesn't matter. So he'll speak up and be like, who are you referring to?
Well, it's something I definitely overlooked, but since we met him, we know him by name, can technically send him a message. Well, we're referring to what's his name?
are you really asking?
No. I'm pretending not to remember. Okay, let me
gotcha.
have my moment.
That guy, tall, not that good looking. What's his name?
Well, you
Yeah, that
you
one.
must be mildly familiar with him if you were able to speak with him.
So anyways, he says that he's in the West Wing. Aside from that, he said that he came in last night. He seemed to be tired. I didn't want to waste another message. But I'm curious if he came after the fog. He sounded exhausted. But that's all I have. Unless you want me to send another message?
No, that's fine. If you said he sounded like he was tired, it's better to leave him be. We can, he'll have to wake up at some point so we can meet up with him later.
So what would you like to do? Explore the city further? If
Across
so,
the
I'll take
street.
the West Wing.
Across the street, you guys see kind of walking at looking around, kind of a bit confused, Elevorn and Nedadion.
I'm gonna lazy jog to them.
Okay.
Well, you guys didn't seem to get too far.
Not at all. Well, Elevorn said not to do anything, so we were just going for a stroll. Well, you know. Uh, well, I suggest we explore the city further. Unless you guys have any other ideas.
I have the idea that we decide what our goal is first before we do stuff. Like, I didn't say don't do anything, I said decide what we want to do before we do anything. Because if
Well,
your
what do you
goal is
suggest?
end the plague, and her goal is to do what we're supposed to do with that guy that we don't know anything about.
We don't know
Yeah.
anything about him, but he's the only one that's talking to us, no? Or would you rather go back to the plague doctor that's given us
Talking
so
about
much
different
Wait,
people.
information?
Talking about
what
different
are
people.
you talking about? Oh wait, did you see Alexander? Is he okay?
No, I didn't see him, but I know where to find him.
Oh, I see.
Oh my god.
Did you? Do you wanna go meet him?
If we don't have other leads to follow, then I may very well suggest to take a stroll towards Alexander. It's not out of place. I'm not. It's not what you guys think at all. I just don't know how to properly respond to the situation.
Okay, before you have a lead to follow, you have to have something that you're trying to have a lead on. Okay? Right? Are we with me so far?
And we have no leads on the other issue that we're currently following. No, I think we. And if it's in the same city, it's not a coincidence. Or I don't
I
believe
don't
it to
care.
be.
Go
What
see the guy, please.
Oliver, you're not listening either.
I am listening to you. You're saying we
No,
don't
you're
have
not.
any leads. Go visit the guy. And I'm saying we don't even know if we don't have a decision on what it is that we want a lead on. You can't. It depends. It varies on what will.
So then maybe we should decide one before you try sending me off. No.
That's really just. I'm leaving, and I leave.
Very
Oh.
counterproductive, but okay.
Neri
I don't
will.
understand her.
Neri
Yeah,
will
go
just
follow
look
her.
at Elevorn and Aaron, then follow Elevorn.
I'm gonna go walk back, I guess, towards the other two.
Okay.
Wait, did I hear any of that?
You guys heard all of that, yes.
Okay.
Half the block heard it.
Oof.
I may be so kind as to interject here. Why don't you follow your lead? I will go hopefully find a busy establishment and see if I can't find anything about this Dene Lavelle.
I would be careful with that type of information. We don't know the type of influence she seems to have over these people either.
I trust Lady Esther's choices, so I will pursue this Dene Lavelle.
Very well. Durand, if you'd like to go follow Elevorn, and then let me know what you guys decide to do, that's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and stand here and wait another second when things aren't even. We don't have any answers for the plague, for the missing people. And unless anyone else has a better idea, I'm going to be doing my own thing too. Then.
I think we really should decide whether we're trying to figure out more about what we're here for to begin with, and this whole plague stuff. they could be entirely unrelated to one another, but if we split our focuses on two separate things, it might not lead us anywhere, or it might be too late.
Would you rather have us all grouped up, one person speaking, to find out the same information for all of us to hear to confirm it at once? Or can we split up the party for a little bit and figure out multiple things at once? Because I think we're capable of that.
No, yes, I'm perfectly fine with that, but what are we here for?
For Neri's mom, aren't we?
Well, yes, but, like, are we here to focus on trying to figure out this plague, or are we here to focus on Neri's mom? Or rather, the things that will lead us to, hopefully, something about Neri's mom?
I can't get past anyone's thoughts, which I initially started questioning here for, but it's all about the plague. If it's all about the plague, it's going to be very difficult to get that information.
Well, one might be
We can
entirely
keep looking,
unrelated to
if
another.
this is what we're going to focus on, then that's fine. You can see that Era's kind of getting a little bit impatient, but you can tell that she's listening to Durand.
You just want us all on the same page. We can all split up and find different things, but I would prefer us all be under one common thing, and if we're here for Neri's mom, then the plague is irrelevant to a certain extent.
And then I will follow your lead.
Okay, so, real quick. Talking about getting on the same page. Do you feel like taking a step back out of character for a bit to get on the same page would be helpful? I'm not sure. It seems like there was a bit of confusion and misunderstanding between quite a few people there. I'm not sure. It was a little bit difficult for me to follow some things as well. I just don't want anyone to actually be frustrated.
No, well, at least I'm not on my end. I was just
No, it seemed like there was, especially like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like you guys were saying the same thing in different ways, and then getting upset that you guys were saying the same thing. I don't know, but let's just get on the same page as, players at a table, so that this doesn't fester.
No, I don't think anyone's. Well,
Yeah.
I personally am not having an issue. I just think
Same.
that the way that Doran talks to Era is easier to digest than the way that Elevorn talks to Era. So that's my perception of it outside of character.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I never really have any arguments outside of this. I'm just trying to.
After all, who can yell at Doran? Let's be honest.
Everybody.
Me. I'm perfectly fine. I don't know if Nimue might be upset.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, if so, apologies. It wasn't supposed to be that way either. I'm just, I don't know, trying to be more interactive. There's nothing wrong. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong right now.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Really, honestly, anybody has anything that they want to say to clear things up. If not, I guess. Well, that depends. I don't know what you guys are here to find out about.
So I guess if we're going to contribute to that, initially I thought we were here to find out information regarding the kidnappings that were going on, right? Or people missing?
You were initially here because you're trying to find a lead to the slavers that have Neri's mom and
Right,
run
the slavers
out of the desert, right? And
yeah, okay.
one of the leads that Esther had led you to this person, Dene Lavelle, out of Worthy, who they're bringing people, they're purchasing slaves from that slave organization to Worthy. So that seems like this Dene Lavelle person is somebody that in some way does have a connection, a through line to that organization. So they would be able to, either willingly or not, give you that information to help you forward.
I see. Okay.
We're all good. Nedadian, you catch up to Elevorn. And I suppose, Demetrius, you're going your own way? Everyone's splitting up? Excellent. I love
You
it.
love it. Yeah, you love it.
Wait, no. Well,
keeping
if
evil with
Demetrius is if Demetrius is going anywhere other than Duran's site, then he's gonna have an issue with that.
I already stated I am simply just going to go look for information.
And Durand will supervise.
Correct. I know at the very least Era can handle herself, and she has the bracelet, so if I need to talk to her, I can talk to her through that and the others,
Gotcha.
but
The
not
party
that
has
I'll
been
ever
split.
talk through the fucking bracelet.
That's true.
All right. So, Netadian, Elevorn.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just, don't really like repeating myself trying to, just make a simple point that I tried to make before we left the inn. But people are too impatient, so let them do what they're going to do. I'm tired of. I can't. It is rowing the wrong way up a river, There's no point. So, I'm going to look around. Is there any of the buildings nearby?
Walking around any of the buildings that are boarded up.
Yeah, those buildings.
Okay, so it takes you a few minutes. You walk off of the main road back into an area where the houses are more densely packed, and that's when you start to see them coming in. You can see that there are some that seem, fresher than others. None that you can see here seem like they were just recently put in, but you find some, absolutely. They're not
Okay,
hard to find.
So, I'll duck into an alleyway and cast Detect Poison or Disease.
Okay.
And it lasts 10 minutes, and,
Okay. So
it
what's
doesn't
the
work for,
radius?
3 feet of wood or dirt. It's... the range itself, I don't know. I guess it's within 30 feet. Within 30
Yeah,
feet.
30 feet. Okay. So you cast this, and Netadian kind of blocks for you. You walk out, and you can see initially nothing. You're not exactly sure what to look for, what's going to ping, how it's going to look differently. You see somebody pass by within a couple minutes, and they kind of stifle a little bit of a cough, and you do get a slightly sort of you can see almost like this light green wispy sort of glow almost from inside of them. It's very, very faint, very minor is what you're detecting. This just minor disease from that. It doesn't seem like anything that's seems too alarming to your senses. But you're like, okay, that's what this means. Somebody has like a little bit of a cough, and you can detect that. You go up to one of these buildings, and nothing. Looking at the construction of the building, it doesn't look like there's any really there's no 3-foot thick wood section of it. It's a pretty shoddy looking building, but you do see the boards on the doors and windows, and that sort of medicinal herb paste into all of the cracks around it. So there's not much to see in the way of actual visible, but your senses, you're not picking up anything. And walking around for a good amount of time that you have the spell up, nothing pings heavily on your detect poison or disease.
Okay, so I'm going to tell Neredian and just be like, there isn't... I was trying to see if, well, I guess it's kind of hard to explain. I can sometimes, well, if I'm ready to do it, I could, see magic and stuff. Well, I can also see, poisons and diseases, and, I don't see anything in these houses that we're walking past. Have you seen anything, in terms of, marks for your stuff?
Make a perception check, Neredion.
Could I guide her?
It would have been like a overtime thing as you guys were walking around, right? It's not
Yeah,
just
that's
a
fair.
one.
Yeah.
Hachi, I'm using Lucky.
Before the roll, she's using lucky.
Oh, hey, 19.
19.
I see stuff.
I see.
Oh,
So
what's
walking
that?
around, you don't really see much in the way of, especially like the sophisticated way that the night keepers were like passing through various cities and small towns since leaving like Brushburn and Vassalom. You've seen markings before, little like sort of wall like graffiti or etchings of different like thieves' camps or small local gangs and everything like that. And that's more what you pick up here. It doesn't seem like any sort of intricate anything more than just sort of vandalism, graffiti type stuff. As far as gangs marking like their local territory or whatever, and a lot of them do seem faded and old and worn, and none of them seem too fresh. So it's nothing. You get the sense that at least there's no big criminal organization in Worthy like the Night Keepers are to Vasselholm or Brushburn.
I didn't notice anything that would, tell anybody that night keepers are here. There's some markings, but most of them are old, very old-ish. Then again, I guess they don't need to mark same houses again and again, but still, it doesn't seem that there are any new ones either, so it doesn't seem like there's any kind of criminals here at the moment. Besides maybe some pickpockets, but not like organizations.
A
So,
plague doctor walks by slowly. Doesn't really pay you any mind, doesn't look towards you, but just walks by, and you get that sort of prickling on the back of your neck like you're being watched, but before you can even like turn, like they are like within 10 feet of you, and then they could just continue and turn the corner.
God, I hate that feeling.
wait, can I chase them down?
You sure?
Okay, I'm not gonna get too close. I'm just like, hey.
And I'll follow, of course.
Okay, so not too close. You get within like maybe 20 feet and you're calling out. The slow walk slowly turns to a stop, the back still to you, but then the plague doctor turns, hands clasped in front of him to face you. The completely engulfing sort of hazmat outfit with the beaked mask, the empty eyes staring directly towards you.
Does my detect thingy notice anything about them? Has it been more than 10 minutes?
Roll a d20.
Just one?
Just one.
It's an 18?
We'll say that this is the tail end of your detect poison and disease. You have less than a minute on it by the time you chase them down and get them to stop and come within range. And through your detect poison and disease, looking at this entity here that is staring in front of you, not verbally saying anything, but their posture still and almost like awaiting whatever words you have to say, you see nothing.
I'm Elo. What's your name? I mean, you're doing such a great service for the city. I mean, must be rough for you.
I do what I have to. We all do what we have to. For the better of everyone.
Hi, I'm Elo. What's your name? You don't have one, huh? That's nice. I could give you one. You could be Dave. Do you want to be Dave?
I think he looks more like a George.
George, okay. Do you like the name George?
The plague doctor takes a step towards you and then stops. It's maintaining its posture. And then turns and continues to walk.
Well, that's pretty rude.
They don't have names.
And that's freaky.
Like, why would they not give a name? Because you're trying to control people, but you're also a person. I mean, if you're a person, you're not a person, then you don't have a name, right? Or, I mean, what is the circumstance under which you wouldn't use your name? I mean, we haven't given our names before, but that was because we were trying to be somebody else, or not trying to be somebody else, we were trying to be careful because people were trying to kill us.
There's a
Yeah.
soft sound of footsteps right behind you guys as crossing the street, coming from where you had just been. Another one of these plague doctors just walks across the street behind you.
Hi, Bella. What's your name?
And I'm Neri.
They're already across the street. They turn and head the other direction that the first one had gone. You can see, watching them, a lot of the people, the citizens, they seem to give them a little bit of a birth. They don't seem freaked out or afraid of them. It seems like they have become like the standard part of their life. They've grown accustomed to them, but there's still this obviously air of unknown and like what the people believe and know that the plague doctor is what they do. There's a little bit of like hesitancy, like they don't want to, just in case that somehow they have something on them, they don't want to catch it.
What does the bird see? That's what I want to know. What does Ava see? That's what I want to know.
Okay, well, you can go find Demetrius if you want.
Like what? Duran's with me, yeah, right? Okay. I'm actually going to duck into an alley and just sort of sit down and transfer like my sight and hearing to Eva and just
Okay.
sort of look around.
All right. Do you explain what you're doing, or you just do this?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Duran doesn't trust me anyway. So.
Fair. All right. So, Duran, you follow Demetrius into an alleyway, a shallow alleyway. He sits against one of these buildings, and you can see him kind of close his eyes and like almost meditatively focus. And your connection to your familiar Demetrius, your own vision, your own senses dull, and you become blind and deafened to your surroundings as new surroundings envelop you, new eyesight from a bird's eye view, and you are at least looking and hearing as if you're flying through the air above Worthy. Looking down, you can kind of make out, okay, that's the tavern that I had just left. That's probably the alleyway. You can see Duran, okay, that's weird. Okay. What are you looking for?
Anything that may seem overly peculiar, given how strange this town seems.
Okay. Try to make a perception check for Ava.
Unnatural 20.
Okay. You, from this perspective, you can see the townsfolk, the citizens of the city making their way around, and in a lot of ways, it does seem like a normal city. People are going about their business. There's even some trading posts set up, some markets for salespeople going in and out of businesses, trade, making, selling food. In a lot of ways, it does seem like a normal city. You also can see these plague doctor individuals, and there are, oddly, it seems maybe less of them than you feel like you have seen walking around. You see them occasionally, and they do just make the rounds. You follow some of them for a while, and they just walk around like normal patrolling guards almost. Nothing strange about the way that they move. You can see occasionally they will stop and converse with individuals that either approach them or that seem to be hanging around some of these boarded up houses, or maybe places that is dangerous or that the plague might exist in, and they guide and lead people out of those areas. But watching them, you just see them, they just are walking around patrolling the city. Nothing strikes you as incredibly odd.
Minus the fact that I think there should be more of them.
Yeah, minus the fact that based on like how you've been walking around and the fact that like you guys have this sense of being watched, you would think that these plague doctors were everywhere. But they're not. There's a good number of them, but not nearly as many as you would have thought you would have seen.
Okay, I'll pull my conscience back to my body.
You pull your consciousness back to your body. You see Durand standing in the alleyway across from you, just watching. And as you come to your feet, walking by the alleyway is a plague doctor. Doesn't even stop, break stride, or look at you.
Just look at him as he walks past.
In the alleyway's a little bit, so you do, but by the time he doesn't take any note of you.
The presence seems very thin, to say to Durand.
The presents? What presents?
The doctors, man.
Oh. There's every corner you look at, you see a plague doctor, it seems. So, how do you get that?
A town riddled with sickness. You'd think there'd be a few more.
Durand is visibly confused. More? You want more?
Just saying, let's go find somewhere busy. Or you can chase after the other tiefling, or go find who I presume to be an interest of yours, what her name was. I don't need a babysitter.
Well, I believe Era is with us.
No. Right? Era's...
Yes.
You are?
No.
No?
I'm still with Durand.
Oh, okay.
I reluctantly agreed to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, Era's with you.
What?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you went off on your own. Right. That's my misunderstanding. Okay. Yeah, Era's with you guys.
Well, the others we can, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'll flash up the bracelet to him, and I'll explain that, we can communicate with this thing. So, I'm sure they're fine. What were you planning on doing in a crowded area? Hopefully, not another performance.
I was actually just going to listen. It's kind of what I do.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. if I can, I suppose, help you with that in any form of way.
Sure. Just enjoy yourself.
And maybe Era has a trick or two she can pull.
None. I can't think of anything at the moment. Maybe there I'll be able to, but she'll pull out her book and just go through the pages. Look at her prepared spells.
Okay. So, where are you heading? Going back to a tavern of some sort, or you're just trying to find a place that seems like
Somewhere more
traffic is.
more popular, more traffic,
Okay.
through traffic.
Yeah. So, from the bird's eye view that you had, you did see what seemed to be like a almost a circular area where many of the roads of Worthy converged on, and in the middle there were carts and markets stalls set up, and around the perimeter of this circular road there were a multitude of businesses that seemed to be the sort of commerce hub for Worthy, at least for the normal citizens. So you guys make your way there. And just walking through. Make a perception check, Demetrius. Anything specific that you're listening to for, or?
The name Danae Lavelle.
Okay.
$16.
16. Alright, so walking by, you can hear people. You kind of pretend to look over some wares of this merchant behind a couple other people, and you can hear individuals talking, and the person that's discussing something with the merchant. And, I just hope that the goodwill of the lord and lady continues after whatever this plague is passes. I don't mind the extra coin in my purse. And the merchant says, I hear you there, and believe me, everyone having a little extra coin to spend doesn't hurt at all. Thank you. And it's like, not a problem. Saying if this was going on under Micah's rule, we'd all probably be dead of starvation before the plague could ever get us. It's like, isn't that the truth? At least we have a good man and woman looking over us, eh? It's like, I'll drink to that later. And he pays for what looks like a pair of work boots and heads off. Continuing on, you hear other conversations, other little interesting motes of information, but no mention of Danae Lavelle amongst these people here. So as that is going on, Elavorn, Naradion, you just had this encounter, if you would call it that, with one of the plague doctors. Elavorn, your spell fades, kind of mulling over the information that you had discovered and what it means in your own head and with Naradion. But what are you two doing?
Is the Black Doctor like really far away right now? Or
He can be, he can't be. I don't know. Do you want him to be? Are you trying to keep him close?
no, I'm gonna go try to bump into him
Okay. From behind or the front?
from behind.
Okay. You walk up and you bump him from behind.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Stops and looks down to you as you do.
Look at that cloud. It's very pretty. I'm hoping there's a cloud or something. Some smoke stuff in the sky.
I would advise that you not cause trouble.
Oh, this is trouble. Oh, I'm sorry.
You have been acting suspiciously.
Have I?
I would advise that you not cause trouble. Excuse me. And he continues past you.
I'll go and help Alavarn up, which is
Okay.
still on the ground.
So it's really there.
It's just not a floating play doctor costume.
Well, it
No,
might
you
have been
felt
like
a
not
solid
that.
body. There was a body, yes. Felt
It's
like a
a fair
person.
question, you know.
That's a good question, and you got your answer.
I mean, these black doctors really seem creepy. I mean, they talk, yes, and well, you bumped into one of them, so they are real, and they talk, even though kind of limited-ish.
He said it was suspicious.
Well, to be fair, I guess we have been kind of acting suspicious, but I mean, but they're the one who are suspicious even more than we.
Okay, so we put on a show and we get people to come to it. Can you juggle?
I don't remember I have ever juggled, but I can try.
Kind of like root around in my backpack and see if there's any potatoes in there.
Sure, why not?
I mean, unless you don't want to. I don't know what the right thing to do is. I mean, I just thought maybe if we get people together, we might overhear something, you know?
True. But I mean, I was also thinking that before we did that, I mean, I know you used that spell and said that you didn't notice anything weird in the houses, but would you still maybe want to go inside one of them? I have that spell that could possibly get us inside of the house. If I just could see inside the house, so I could know where to go, kinda. I guess that's how it worked.
Yeah.
It didn't seem dangerous. I mean, there's nothing in there, as far as I could tell. You know?
If you don't want to go in, then we can try that juggling thing.
Well, no, I was saying that I don't think it would be dangerous to go in because, you know.
Oh yeah, because there isn't anything in of them.
We're not going to get sick, but I don't know what we will find in there, you know?
Yeah, we might find something, hopefully.
But, you know, I don't even know how useful it would be to draw the crowd because, you know, I'm already suspicious. Oh, you know, I'm not sure. I don't know where to go to find who we're trying to find. Like, I wouldn't.
I'm not really sure either. I mean, our options for that possibly would be just ask around or something, but that might draw even more attention to us.
So maybe we just want the attention, you know? We're suspicious because we're just traveling performers. You know? I've done it before.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, you could be a tamer of some kind of animal. Take your pick.
Guess I could be an animal. That could be kind of fun.
Oh no! I can't. You may not. When I turn you into an animal, you are the animal. You know, but if I'm the animal, then I can be sure to not attack anybody accidentally.
Oh, that. Oh, Yeah, we don't want me to attack anybody as an animal.
Well, I don't think you would on purpose. You know, it's just difficult sometimes when you're an animal to control how you feel as an animal, and like around a lot of people, it might be even harder. you know?
I don't. I mean, I don't quite understand, but I trust you. Yeah. So I guess I could be the tamer then. Yeah.
Do you think maybe it'd be better to get like Demetrius in on this too? You know, because he can play music, and so we'd be like more of a formed.
I was just actually thinking about that. That he seems to be very handy with those musical instruments he has, and I mean, if we are trying to be performers, then he is a good choice.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to contact people and talk to them, you know, or I can. It's up to whatever, whichever way. We'll find them, maybe.
Yeah, I'll use the bracelet. Are you guys together, or did you guys split up, or we should meet up?
So you guys are still in that market circle area, and just as Demetrius is hanging out and trying to eavesdrop onto conversations and pick up information, Era, Durand, you guys are there as well. The smell of fresh baked bread is all around. It's very. It's not as enticing as other cities that you have been to. It's very simplistic. There doesn't seem to be anything in the way of just over the top like pastry type things, but it's just very simple um, food and salted jerked meats that are on these carts. Also, a few shops, some general stores, and some more specialized things surround this market area. But you get as you guys are in this space, you get the telepathic message from Nerdian.
If Demetrius is walking off or something, I'll tell him to hold on for a moment, and then I'll respond. Okay. Where would you like to meet up?
I guess anywhere is fine, as long as we all just find there, I guess, because this place is still new. Where are
Is
you
it-
guys?
I can't say just exactly where, but I can kind of tell you how I got here from where I was before.
Okay, I mean, I guess we can try to find back through where we kind of split off, and then, you know.
I'm gonna whistle really loud and then speak into the bracelet. Did you hear that?
I mean, through the.
No, I didn't whistle into the bracelet.
Yeah, that's no, I didn't hear anything besides Durand.
Looking
People stop and look at
around.
you, Era.
Oh,
You're in a crowded
Is there-
space. Everyone's kind of pausing, looking at you, like
Durand
Some
is
people-
internally upset.
Eventually, they just continue on, and people are like, "Ah."
is there any distinct landmark that I can point the crowd towards, or rather, Elevorn and Neri?
Well, Duran could explain how he got there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I could just meet
Honestly,
back.
it's a little bit like it's not difficult from where you guys had split off. It's really like you follow that main road, the large road. If you guys can find your way back to that easily enough, and then you head in the direction you follow that towards where the inner wall is, and you can see even that tip of the manor or keep that is behind that. And if you follow the main road in that direction, you'll eventually get to a place where the road splits and begins to curve and open up into this market circle. And with Duran's guidance, you guys find your way there in about 15, 20 minutes. So the party is unsplit.
Oh, real quick, after I do that, I guess if Demetrius is here,
Yeah.
do I have you?
Easy enough.
Well, I mean, rather is Duck here.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that here?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. All right. So I'll ask Demetrius. What exactly are you trying to hear out for? That I can probably better help you if you give me a sense of direction as well. See if we're on the same page.
Simply looking to hear for the name Danae Lavelle.
Well, I doubt we'll actually hear the name itself in public streets. Even probably saying that out loud might have not been the best idea. I feel we should be, all of us should be considerably more careful with everything going on here. We're acting a little bit too obvious. Maybe I'm just being paranoid.
Well, it could be your shiny armor following behind a tiefling through a crowded street.
Two at that. I mean, standing out is, I guess, something I've always done down here, up here, over here, over here.
Which direction is home? Who knows?
Home is that way.
I think home is east. I'd like to imagine it's east.
I mean, eventually, if you can get there by going east, yeah.
No flat world theory here.
It's actually a diamond.
Oh my god.
It's actually a dodecahedron. It's actually shaped like a D20.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe you're right. But I'm very used to, I guess, standing out. So maybe I'm just subconscious.
So you all group up. At this point, it's getting close to the middle of the afternoon, maybe 3 o'clock.
Okay, so I thought that, since we're kind of standing out anyway, and we might find more information with people being together, maybe we could try to be street performers, you know?
Demetrius takes a big swig from his flask. Do you want a performance?
Well, I'm just saying we could be a troupe of performers, kind of.
This feels extremely against everything I've been trying to do. But
What's this one gonna do? Bash his sword against his shield.
quite the opposite of that is the whole point.
Well, I mean, I was already told I was suspicious, so I mean,
Yeah, we've kind of all been told that we're suspicious.
Then throw
Fireball?
No, not that. Throw
Oh, all right.
No fireball, please.
throw caution to the wind. I see. Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure where to go to find out about this person that we're looking for, you know? So, uh,
Maybe. I mean, it's technically not a bad idea if we get noticed really well. Maybe that'll lead to something, be it good or bad.
Hopefully, something good.
Or bad then good. Or good then bad.
or we don't.
I mean, I've done my time performing on the streets for coin. I don't see the difference.
Were you ever an outsider in a strange area where very suspicious things are going on while being a performer on the street?
I'm a tiefling. I've
Well-
always been an outsider.
Right.
I feel like I'm missing something here.
It's like Jorona, you know, and her father. They're outcasts, kind of in Asahi, you know, because of who they are. It doesn't really make sense. It never did. I don't really understand it. I mean, we could go to the bad side of town and see if we find something in a tavern there. Maybe that's where people go missing, you know?
But
I don't know.
it has been some time. Why don't we meet up with I remember his name.
Error's Boulevard? Yeah, okay, let's do that.
So you guys are gonna go try to find Alexander? Was that what you said?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Hey, Era, let's go find your boyfriend.
Now it's not really the time for jokes, is it, Mary? We're pressed
Okay,
on
I'm
time,
sorry.
and it's already in the afternoon. No, it's fine. I can see that we're all on edge, but should act as a team, no?
Okay, so as Era, you were the one that reached out to Alexander, and you got a more detailed idea of where it is that he is staying. You lead the group in that direction back towards the sort of center of the city, and then off in the western direction off the main road towards less of a connection of streets and more a connection of alleyways between these complexes and buildings that are packed tightly together. You see individuals that are just on the street with nothing more than a blanket and a few small handfuls of bread. You see people that are kind of looking over their shoulders, and as you come into view, they head down another alleyway. You're in a very seedy part of Worthy within the next half hour or so. And you come to what you think is the place. There's the shops that he had described that are out there, but they are currently looking like they're closed and have been for quite some time. The paint on the exterior sign is faded and worn. The building that you're standing in front of looks empty. You can't really see in. There are no windows to see in. There's no light coming from the gaps in the door, but I think this is the place.
Well, this doesn't look suspicious at all.
It looks no more suspicious than if you were to go to any building in this part of the city, honestly.
On the way here, do you notice anything different regarding the crowd, or is it like the same type of?
Same type of people, maybe a little
Yeah.
less well dressed, less well off for sure. And as you had left the market square, which is like the area where there are a lot of people, obviously the crowds have diminished. It's less populated here, at least less people out and about. You can occasionally see individuals through small windows or gaps in the shoddily built houses within here. You can see light coming from. So this place is populated, but there are not as many people on the streets.
And I guess same would apply to the plague doctors.
Looking around, you don't see any. Thinking on it, you still have the feeling of being watched, but
Hmm.
don't see any.
Okay. I guess I'll uh, uh go into the building that I think it is.
Okay, so it's looks like it's a two-story building. The second story looks like it's a bit offset. It looks like it's a home. It's not like a apartment complex or anything. It looks like it's someone's personal like place of staying. So trying to open the door results in you're met with a locked door.
For a bad part, they do well to keep their things locked. I proceed to knock.
Okay. You hear the sound of a chair scraping against the wood, and then these sort of light, shuffling footsteps that grow louder as they approach the door. You hear the sliding chain of a deadbolt as it unlocks, and the creak of the door as it opens, and you see there a short-statured, older woman with silvery gray hair that falls to just beneath her jaw. These light blue eyes with just deep set crow's feet and smile lines around the corners of the mouth. She's wearing very simple, plain, and slightly dirtied clothes. And she stands at maybe about 5'2", 5'3", so a decent bit shorter than you. Oh. Yes. Forgive me, I don't remember your name, but Alexander, he did say that he was expecting somebody that fit your description. Please, come in. I'm not sure if he is up yet or not.
We didn't mean to disturb.
We?
came-
Oh, there are more of you?
Yeah. That all
Excellent.
right?
No, that is perfectly fine. It might be a little cramped for space. I'm afraid I don't have the enough places to sit to accommodate everyone, but if
Oh.
that doesn't mind, if you don't mind.
Era does her best not to pay attention to her surroundings, so she doesn't have to make a remark about it.
Okay. And the door opens up a little bit wider as she stands off to the side. And she eyes you up and down, and then kind of the gaze follows to each and every one of you individually.
I'll give a slight nod when she's like looking at me.
It gives you a smile, and you can see that A couple of the teeth on the side are missing, but you know.
Just smile and wave.
She gives you a wave and then beckons, please come in, come in, come in. You can see inside, there's a main sort of, it opens up into this main like living slash dining room area. There's a round table in the middle with 2 chairs. On the back above what looks like a small fire pit is a shelved mantle that has currently a couple candles lit, providing this very dim, soft lit glow into the room itself. There's not much more than looks like a cooking pot and a few bags of like grain and other provisionary like foodstuffs. What are you guys doing?
Come on, Air, don't just stand there.
I have a couple of questions, I guess.
I mean, are you planning on having a full conversation in the doorway here?
No, not at all. I guess I'll go in first.
Please come.
Thank you for, your hospitality.
Oh, it's least I can do. It's well, I'll let him speak for himself. But Alexander did have a little of a story to tell about some of the travelers he met on the road, and I assume that is you.
Maybe it is.
Ah, yes, he's probably still quite exhausted. He did have a long journey. I'm surprised that you got here so much quicker than he did. He said that he had met you, and yet you were here, and he had just gotten back. Are you not tired? And as the last person comes in, the door closes behind you guys, and you're just left in the soft, dimly lit interior. Like, I have water. Does anyone need water or anything that I can provide? Alexander, your friends
No,
are
it's
here.
fine. But I have a. It's just it's different. You seem more welcoming than anybody else we've encountered lately.
I'm sure people are scared, people are scared, but I mean, I've already lived near a full life. What do I have to be afraid of? And he said that you were interested in helping, and that's great. Why would I turn away help?
Right. What regarding this place, right? Have you known anybody to stay late past fog or when everyone's supposed to be inside?
We're not supposed to. It's what the doctors say. It's when they go around, and that's when they make their calls, and they do most of their work. So we're supposed to be in so that, they can check up on people. But well, I'll let him tell you. But it, and at that point, she looks over your shoulder, and you hear a door opening that leads to another room, and stepping out is the tall, lean, athletically built Alexander, and you can see he's wearing what looks like the traveling trousers that he had worn when you had seen him before, and other than that, this pendant around his neck, and nothing else. Bare feet, bare chested. He walks out and has I do wish that you would have gave me a little bit more information there, Andrea. I did not realize that we had company. I apologize. And he stands there apologizing, but doesn't seem shamed at all as he looks to the rest of you. Very fair-skinned, very toned and athletic. Looks a bit tired, but other than that, seems fine.
We didn't mean to wake you up. I was just.
It's fine. Could you put a pot on, please, Andrea? I would appreciate that very much. Oh, absolutely, Alexander. And she goes to start boiling water.
You said you got here last night?
Last night, early in the morning, yes. He grabs, looks like a coat from a nearby hanger and just kind of drapes it around his shoulders and arms. As he just kind of stands with a decent berth between himself and the rest of you. I assume that you have. Well, you told me that you had quicker ways of travel. I suppose you were not wrong in that. You seem to have gotten here a bit of time before I did.
Not by much, but it's not. Despite everything, it's not really what I expected. I don't really know what's going on around here. Well, other than the obvious, I guess. None of us do.
Yes, I have not had time to thoroughly examine what is going on as much as I would have wanted as well. I do plan on starting fairly soon, perhaps even tonight. I just don't know exactly where to start. But I would be interested in hearing anything that you and yours have learned since being here, if you have managed to acquire any information. Andrea, from a little bit ways off to the side, maybe 10 feet away. Oh no.
What happened? Oh my god.
What the hell happened?
Suspense.
Dun, dun, dun. Hello, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Well, can you see
I
me?
You
can-
need to turn off your
Can't
video.
speak.
Turn off your video. Turn it back on. See if that fixes it. Nope.
Hmm.
Oh,
Oh, there it is.
Hello.
so Andrea,
Yay.
would anyone else like some tea or something to drink?
Um. I could have some tea. Yes.
Oh, I would love a cup of tea if it's no trouble.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said that I would love a cup of tea if it's no trouble.
No trouble at all. I just apologize for. I didn't realize that there were so many of you coming. And you guys are kind of awkwardly standing. It is not the largest space for now 7 people in here.
So, I have done my fair share of just, kind of skirting around, not telling people information that I've learned in various situations, but I don't really feel like I don't like this place. I mean, your house is wonderful. Please don't miss it. Just this town is strange. I don't think the plague doctors are. They may not be people. I don't know what they are, and I can't find a disease. I have magical means of finding and knowing what the disease is, and there isn't one. None of the houses that I walked past, they're all boarded up, but there's nothing inside, like nothing to, no disease. I don't know what this plague is. I don't think there's a sickness. I don't know what's happening to people. I don't know where they're going. And
I mean,
Well, that is curious. Not what I was expecting, really. And
and
to
more than that is I spoke with a guy, a attendant of the temple of the Raven Queen. He was taking offerings when we arrived, and he also, I guess they worked with the plague doctors to create some kind of barrier with mist to try to contain it.
yes.
But also, he said that there's no outward sign of this illness either, so they don't see it before it. People are just disappearing and their houses are being boarded up. And these plague doctors, they're everywhere, and I don't understand how.
At least they seem to be everywhere, and they've seemed to be taken over like guards, which is even more weird because they're supposed to be just plague doctors, and aren't doctors supposed to just take care of people and not do guard duty?
You see him kind of adjust the cloak over him to cover his torso before. It is a large city. You have investigated each of these houses. How many have you seen? And you've actually been in to them? I have not had the chance since arriving. I have noticed them as I was coming in, but I have not had the chance to look into this much myself, so this is all very intriguing to me.
We haven't been able to go in because whenever you get close to one, there's a plague doctor there all of a sudden, telling you to, for your safety, please step away. And if you ask them for their names, they don't tell you. They don't respond like a person. Like I'm talking to you, and you can tell that I'm a person. They just respond kind of
They have
strange.
lines, kind of. They just respond the same thing over and over, kind of.
That is strange.
I might have means to get inside one building, but that is...
I am not sure what you'll find. I don't think there's any danger of getting sick, though. Like I don't
Well,
think
that
there's
does alleviate some worry. But raises so many more questions. You say that you are curious as to when it is that I arrived. Why is that? It seemed to put you off, Era.
I think it might be because when we got here, I mean, there seems to be a curfew of kind because of this really tense fog that rolls in, and the plague doctors are going around. They're the only ones who can be out and about during the night. And I guess they would arrest people if they are outside. I don't know what they're gonna do to the people who are outside in the middle of the night. But which also leads to the whole thing that they're the only ones who are out. And during the mornings, there are new houses that have been boarded up. So, and if the people aren't really sick, aren't they the ones who are just taking the people, kidnapping people, or whatever, and boarding up houses and claiming it's
Mary,
a plague?
that is it.
What?
That is it. That is exactly it. That is what Esther said. She said to look for this, for what you just said.
I don't know what it is you're talking about, but it would seem that if they are doing things that they wish people not to see under the guise of night and this fog, and there is a curfew to keep people away from watching them, that seems like the exact time that we should be out doing just that. At least, I do not wish to bring you into my endeavors, but that is what I will be doing. It seems like the nighttime is where I will get the answers that I need. I'm not sure the answers that you are seeking, but it might coincide.
What do you know about Michelle's Sanvinick and Logan?
There's a moment of a sort of deep set scowl and recognition on the names.
Can I read into it?
Make an insight check.
17.
17?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he answers, I know that they have been Lord and Lady of Worthy for some time now. At least 2.5 decades. Logain was the brother to the former lord of the city. But after leaving for some time and then returning, there was a period where Logain had started to gather a bit of a following, a bit of a political following, and the people called for a little bit of an uprising. People were falling in behind him as opposed to the old governor of Worthy. Now, the Sanvaniques, they have been the family in charge of Worthy for over a century, and it was the old lord of the manor who had carried on that as the eldest brother, but Logain came in. After some time away from the city, he came back, gained favor with the people, and not long after, the old lord of the manor fell mysteriously ill, let's say. The investigation surrounding it, if I recall correctly, was not terribly thorough, as Logain's ascension to Lord of the Manor was well received and wanted by many of the people of Worthy. Now that was quite some time ago. Like I said, over 20 years.
It still could be the start of all of this. They just needed time.
Looking at it, Era, hard to read. Other than that first sort of, like, just look of recognition, can't really glean much past the surface.
It's the Ebbs. But...
Hmm?
Nothing. Hmm. I'm gonna remain, I guess, lost in thought, trying to think of what else I could ask. I'm a bit distracted.
Tea is brought out to those of you who had requested it. And as the elderly lady hands the cup to Elevorn, there's still plenty left if anyone changes their mind. And she walks over and hands the cup to Alexander, who takes a cursory sip from it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everything.
Bye.
Oh yeah.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Didn't matter.
Hmm?
Everything you just mentioned sounded like a bit of a history lesson, but personally speaking, how do you feel about those two?
Personally speaking, I do not trust them.
Why?
Well, especially
Well,
if everything that you have told me here is true. Why would I?
Yes, there's.
Hmm?
Oh, I was just gonna remark. Yes, there's something. It feels something has felt strange since I've seen them.
If what you're saying is true, if this plague is a farce, then somebody had to fabricate it. And I do not see a fabrication such as this going over or out of the sight of those two.
One thing that I found kind of odd is that You know, when we're somewhere helping people, you just help them.
Sorry.
Music box died.
Oh,
That's fine. I got it.
yes, the music box died.
I
But
got it.
I said, you know how like when you're helping somebody, you're just helping them, right? You know, you go somewhere and you just help. You don't stand around declaring that you're helping people. You just do it. But they were spending an awful lot of time declaring their devotion and help, and we're on your side, and it sounded not,
Oh, well, that sounds
you know,
exactly like Logain. That is how he had earned the favor with the people to begin with, back before he was lord of the city.
but
His charity, as he calls it. He takes a little bit of a breath and sort of recomposes himself. You can see he had been leaning a bit forward when discussing, but sort of just recomposes and repostures himself.
Can I have Eva land on the perch of the house and just kind of keep an eye out for plague doctors?
Okay, sure.
iPod.
What?
The bot doesn't want to stay. There we go.
I have a question. Do we still feel like we're being watched currently?
Yes. Like you don't always have that feeling, but when you consciously like think on it, or when it like enters your mind, yes.
I'm going to do a thing and
What are you
just
doing?
cast Pass Without Trace on
Okay.
everybody around me.
You begin to cast the spell, and Alexander raises an eyebrow, and even Andrea, as he had referred to her, kind of looks over towards Olivon as she casts. And then the spell is set, and you guys have Pass Without Trace active.
It's not anything. It's just I keep well the feeling of people watching us. I don't know what causes it, but maybe this will stop it.
I don't. Yeah, ever since we managed to get into the city, especially when we somehow, I guess at least on my part, somehow when I think about it, it feels like somebody's watching us.
Does it still?
Does it still feel like that?
Less, but still there. Well, I'm not sure what you intend to do, but I'm going to begin at least my own version of an investigation, at least trying to find answers for myself. However, if you have plans and are interested in involving me in them, it seems you are quite adept at finding answers, and it is answers that I am after.
Oh,
So,
also, I forgot to tell you, but I did bump into one of the plague doctors on purpose. They are actually there. I was thinking maybe they weren't even there, but that one was. So you know, just
good
something.
to know. And, like the glance kind of eyes you for he just looks at you for a while, Olivon, and is like he's just remembering the conversation that you guys had out in the forest, in the woods, and he just nods. Well, did you have any uh, goals, any plans, anything for the evening, or were you going to abide by this curfew?
I don't know about everybody else, but I am so feeling the need to go outside in the night.
I think we were thinking maybe things were separate, but I think they're connected. Maybe. So action will lead to results. for both goals, right?
Where do they take the sick?
That's what we were saying, is we don't know and we want to know. And
Oh, that sounds like something that we can do.
We are not nobody. I guess nobody besides the plague doctors, of course, are allowed to go into the cemetery because I'll use air quotes. It's dangerous over there. So, and supposedly the people they have taken from the homes have died on the plague and stuff like that. So, are they taking them to the cemetery? And who knows where they are taking people from there, and or what are they doing over there to them?
Well, I am not one who is going to tell you all what to do. You have the things that you are unworthy for. I have what I am unworthy for. But the way I see it, if it is these plague doctors, if it is if it is Lord and Lady San Vinique who are saying that we should not be out at night, then I will be out at night. If they are telling us that we should avoid the graveyard, that is the first place that I will go.
Graveyard does intricate me a lot. I myself can only get myself and one other person to either inside the graveyard or inside one of those boarded up houses.
If I recall correctly, the graveyard is not too terribly gated off. The walls are rather low, are they not?
True, but still trying to go over them while the plague doctors seem to be just everywhere, even though they aren't at the same time. I wouldn't necessarily go climbing up that wall.
Well, you see him, he clears his throat and sort of rubs his chest a little. If you're interested, I am interested. Like I said, you have not been here long and you have found answers. I would like answers myself. If you would wish to perhaps get some rest and we will meet up after curfew tonight, here or another place of your choosing, I'll even maybe the graveyard itself if that is what interests you.
And I will look at everyone else.
The graveyard seems easiest spot to meet at. Without drawing suspicion, of course.
Out of character, how close was the Raven Queen's temple to the graveyard?
Not far, actually. Maybe about a 5-7 minute walk, if that.
Now I will just look at the ceiling, I guess, for a moment. I mean, maybe the temple is boarded up, but
It's not boarded up, it was just locked.
well, locked.
Yeah.
That's boarded up enough for Neri at the moment. Who knows? The temple is very close to the graveyard, so who knows if there is a crypt or catacombs that would go into the temple from the graveyard. We might even have access to the temple. That's all I'm saying.
why are we trying to get into the temple now?
Well, I don't know. We might not even have to go there. I'm just trying to think where they are. If they are even taking the people into the graveyard.
How about Eric, you stay and hang out here because and you can just come and meet us at the inn when you guys are ready. you do have a lot of questions, right? So you have questions to ask. So you can just, when you're done asking your questions, you could bring Alexander to the inn where we're staying, because you know where that is from here. So yeah.
You don't look at, I guess, everyone else.
Elborn is like hard winking with the eye away from Alexander.
I do have a lot of questions. Excellent point,
Yeah,
Elborn.
Elborn's almost falling over, winking so hard.
I'm yeah. Actually, I am feeling a bit hungry, so maybe we should. At least I would like to go back to the inn at the moment and have something to eat. And Era, you keep asking those questions, whatever you have, and meet up at the inn. And thank you for the tea, and I'll start making my way to the door
Not a
again.
problem. Not a problem. Thank you for your help. I'm sure that you and you lot and Alexander will get to the bottom of whatever this is.
We can hope so.
I feel weird all of a sudden. Can I see if the lady is actually being genuine?
Make an insight check.
We've been poisoned. Oh shit.
Double
natural
agents.
A natural one. She is the most kind-hearted, honest lady that you have ever met in your life, and her tea was
She was
delicious.
amazing. Yes, thank you so much. And I'm like shaking her hand and giving her teacup back and just.
Not a problem. Not a
We're
problem.
fucked.
Anytime that you want to come over, please. And she takes the tea cup back and just smiles and shuffles it back to the kitchen area.
We are screwed.
Oh man.
Double agents.
Like,
All
if
right.
Duran didn't, I'm going to like nudge him a little bit and grab Demetrius like something hanging off of him.
Anything, Duran?
Mary is already opening the door, so Ella can pull everyone else out.
I feel like the best place to wait would be away from where they know we stay. So
Let's just find a place to eat. Okay, I'm hungry. Drunk. Let's
Hungry. Let's eat food now.
So Ella is trying to pull Demetrius and Duran out.
I'm preparing my notes.
Okay.
Okay.
You just leaving, Duran?
I mean,
Demetrius?
I'm ready for a drink.
We get started. Okay.
That was great.
What?
I just said that was great.
You mean what? Are you saying anything, dude?
I'm showing my reluctance, but nothing else.
Okay. So everybody except Era ends up leaving. The door closes with little old lady Andrea giving you guys a wave. A couple more candles are lit to make it a bit more warmly lit in here than the dim light that it was before Era, but it's now the three of you and Andrea. She's preparing a small meal with whatever limited supplies they have here, and the two of you, Alexander and yourself, sitting across this small table in respective chairs of your own. He's still sort of gingerly sipping at the tea that was provided him, but let's go ahead and take a break.
Okay.
Thank God. Be right back.
Yes.
Be right back, yeah.
Bathroom.
Good to go.
All right, welcome back. So, with everybody else leaving, to leave Era with Alexander and Andrea in their small home. Era, you sit across from this small, worn wooden table. Alexander and his just looking
Uh,
to you, just invitingly, but still like curious.
Give me a second.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, Code Miku's.
What's up? Are you good?
Only me. Okay. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. So it's just the three of you? Well, they seemed in a bit of a hurry. You had questions for me. I am not sure what it is I can offer, as it seems You and your friends are, well, pretty quick at finding things out. I don't know what I can add personally, but I'm willing to speak.
Ah.
And she's gone.
Yeah.
Stage fright.
You
Hello?
good? Hello?
Yes, I'm back. Um, so I guess on your way back, you didn't notice anything suspicious, or you weren't approached?
Sorry,
Oh, that was for I guess Alexander.
what'd you say? You're a little
Oh,
bit. You're better now.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I guess this is gonna sound weird, but you don't feel like you're being watched?
I do. It's a little more than a feeling. Well, I suppose it is the feeling, but it's almost like I know that somebody is watching, is more what it feels like, more than a errant paranoid suspicion, if that makes sense.
I would be cautious about the night. They seem to, or at least during the day, they seem to know our movement. Even though we're not really doing anything, they just happen to appear. And
Hmm.
we don't really realize it until they're there.
And you've not come across a explanation for this as of yet?
See, I attempted to use detect magic, but even I couldn't. It's not like it's linked to an object or anything like that, so I couldn't. I can't pick up on it. And maybe it's something I'm missing. Maybe it's much more simpler, but it
Perhaps.
just seems we're stumped.
Well, hopefully the night will hold answers that we all seek.
And so far, it seems to align from what you at least know.
I must say I do not know much. It has been a number of years since I have last been in Worthy. So I am. My knowledge all comes from a time that it might not be as relevant.
I would say be careful with well, you seem to already be more familiar with the lady and the lord, whatever you want to call them. We
I
have
do
to be a bit
intend-
more cautious after yesterday's performance.
I do not intend to put myself in their way before I know more. If they are indeed behind this, which my suspicions tell me is very likely, well, I would rather not have their gaze upon me so directly until I am ready to make my move, whatever that may be.
You said you were looking for family, if I remember.
Yes, some of which I have found here. Thankfully, still in good health. And he motions to Andrea, the elderly woman who he is staying with. Others seem to have either moved on or were not exactly where I had last seen them. Hopefully still around, though. Or I suppose maybe hopefully not, considering the circumstances.
Uh, I imagine it's still difficult to read into him.
Really, it doesn't seem like you're watching, and he seems forthright with his answers. He hasn't dodged any of your questions as far as you can tell.
Hmm.
All the while, he's just talking with you, not breaking eye contact as you speak with him.
I don't know if it's the paranoia, heebie-jeebie feelings, but I guess I'm still on my guard.
Okay.
But you mentioned a lot about what was it? What was his name?
Who? Logain? The Lord? Or
Yeah. Yeah, but do you have any impression on the woman?
As far as I know, the woman was somebody who came back with Logain after his exodus from Worthy. To my knowledge, he had left before I was even born. Came back, like I said, near 2.5 decades ago, and the woman was with him at that time. I do not know her too well.
Interesting. She seems to be shrouded. No one seemed to talk about her. Just
Well, she would have been here for as long as Logain was lord of the manor. She was lady alongside him. For the most part, she rarely was as much of a public figure as he. But all of the same, they seem to both have the adoration of the masses. However, I would not like my presence to be known by either of them until the time is right.
okay. Well, no reason to mention you, to my knowledge. So
Do you intend to go and speak with them?
I don't know. We've already had one encounter. I doubt a second one would be pleasant, anyways. So
Please.
more just. Sorry, what was it?
You
What you were gonna say?
encounter. He leans in, interested. What was this encounter you had with them? What were they like? What did you see? Anything? Did they seem normal to you?
No, I mean it wasn't. It's difficult to explain, but more so the lady. She had this intimidating feel to her, but she spoke softly, and it seems, well, as far as we know, magic doesn't work on them.
Okay. Well, that does sound like her, or at least my knowledge of her. Hmm. Well, I suppose we should all be getting a bit of rest before, if we intend to spend the night outdoors. Might be a long night.
I'll leave you to. I'll see myself out.
Okay. And he watches as you go and gives a nod, and then you can hear the muffled speaking of the elder lady and Alexander behind the door as you exit. Is there anything that you guys want to do before sundown? Anybody?
Go back to the graveyard with Eva.
You're gonna go over the graveyard with Ava?
I'm going to go near the graveyard with Ava.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
our inn is next to the graveyard, isn't it?
No.
Still close enough.
The first one that you were in was closer. The one that you are currently staying at is closer to the market square than it is the graveyard or the temple.
Oh, okay. Then I'll go to the graveyard with Ava and just sort of prop myself up against the wall and focus my conscience into her and have her look around.
Okay. Make a perception check with Ava.
You are shadowed by Durand.
So a decent way away from the gate where there are the plague doctors standing guard. You walk over and just focus and send Ava up into the air and over.
21.
Alright. What you see is a large, sprawling area. You didn't get the full depth of the size of this graveyard, the cemetery, from the outside, but it goes on for quite some time. It takes up a good amount of space, and from the bird's eye view that you have, you can see all the tombstones, the graves, even some stone buildings like memorials or even entrances into crypts. With the 21, some ways in, maybe about near the center, a little bit off center, you see a small wooden house, it looks like. And outside of that house, you can see what looks to be an older human woman. And she's carrying a little, like a walking stick, and there are a few potted plants outside of the house, and she's just looking over them and tending to them. She looks older than Andrea. So maybe like late 70s, perhaps. Maybe even older than that. But she walks around and she tends to some of these plants for a bit and then walks back into the house. Other than that, everything is still, quiet, empty, oddly enough. For as sprawling as it is, for as many headstones that you see, it's fairly empty. Going a bit further, you could see what looks like a stone area in the ground that's slightly receded into the ground, and there are black scorch marks around, as well as what looks like, since you rolled so high, fragments of little piece of wood, almost like a funeral pyre, like a cremation pit of some kind. Other than that, it's just emptiness, walkways sprawling and spidering out in all directions. That's what you see. At this point, you guys have maybe an hour and a half until sunset.
I will, I guess, rendezvous wherever they are, and
Sure.
um, I guess the only thing that would stand out would be her age. So
Demetrius
bring
hasn't
that
relayed
up.
this information yet.
What was I there for that?
I don't know if he's even related. He's just seen it himself now.
We have heard nothing.
I'll return consciousness.
Okay. You see Demetrius open his eyes, come back to his own senses. As in the distance, you can see the skeletal hawk flying back towards you all from deeper within the graveyard.
There seems to be an old woman tending the graveyard. I didn't see much. Just taking care of her plants, and there was a pit of some sort, maybe used for burning something.
Did you, see any, like, when somebody's buried, the ground is disturbed?
I did not see anything.
No.
So they're not being buried, wherever these. Well, I mean, you saw somewhere they're being burned, then, or
There were traces of fire.
If it was just only traces, we can't be sure if anybody has been burned. It could be just a fire that's lit to have some smoke to pretend that they're burning the bodies.
and what were you saying, Era? I mean, since you're back to you now. I mean, why are you back? Aren't you?
Yeah,
Why am I back? There was no more questions to ask.
You mean
Anyways.
you just
Mhm.
asked him the questions the whole time? Okay.
Well, what else was I there for?
To get to know him?
Oh yes, how romantic. In the middle of a plague.
There's no time like now. I mean, we're alive right now. We might not be alive later.
Raise the flag and cheers to that.
I mean,
Era
he seemed to
contemplates
be
going back
really
with that
open to
knowledge.
show his body to you also, even though he did cover it up a little bit at one point, but
I believe we were all present for that.
I know, but
Obviously, it was for Era.
I think it was more aimed for Era. I mean, he was surprised that we were there. I'm sure he was expecting only Era to come.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get that vibe at the end, so it's
Well,
fine.
and-
It's just
Well, what did he say?
I asked him a little bit more about the lady. What's her
No,
name?
I mean
Andrea.
at the end.
Oh, well, I mean, I said I was gonna leave, so I left.
Oh, okay.
Why?
I was just wondering if maybe you misinterpreted something he said. Like he hinted at something and maybe you missed it. But yes, on to the serious matter of questions. What did you find out?
No. What? You're distracting me.
You started saying something
He
about the lady.
right. He mentioned that she's been there as long as he's been around, or since he's returned for about 2 decades.
Which
But
lady?
nothing really else. Huh?
Which lady? Andrea, or you know who we're
Andrea.
talking about? Oh,
Mm, you
wasn't
were
I
talking
talking
about
about the
Michelle.
son Venix?
Yeah, the Venice. Am I mixing up names? My bad.
Yes, Andrea is the old woman that he was with. Michelle is the Michelle
Sorry.
is the is
Michelle. Yeah,
the
Michelle.
lady
Michelle.
of the
I'm
manor.
sorry about that, guys.
Wait, so how long has she been the lady?
Uh, um, 2 decades.
How?
Mary is trying to do math. I don't think that adds up.
What do you mean?
She was described as being in her early 30s. Was she like 5?
Appearing in
Well-
her. You didn't ask her age, but yes,
Yeah, but still described as.
Sure. Yeah.
Am I talking in character? Shh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't look too old, definitely. If she really is in her early 30s, then 2 decades. That doesn't add up unless, I mean, only thing, if she would have had been a lady like when she was a little girl, if that would make sense, but that also is kind of nasty and not that. Something is fucky.
I mean, she didn't appear to be anything other than human, right? You know, instead of talking in the text chat, you could participate in the chat in the voice way so that we could do this in character instead.
I don't know anything that I just said in character. That's why I didn't
Yes,
say
you
it.
do. Well,
I don't
mean,
know. I wasn't there
know
for the
stuff.
conversation that he had. That Era just had with him.
Okay.
Alright, so
No,
Okay.
no. I get
Well,
what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but so the timeline on things that has happened, just so me, DM, can clear things up. So basically, Logain is the brother of the old lord of the manor. That's what you learned. A man named Micah Sanvanique. He was the lord of the manor. His brother Logain left for some time and returned about 2.5 decades ago. When he returned, that's when Michelle was with him. Sometime after that, Micah fell ill. He had gained enough popularity that people were like, yes, we want Logain to be the new lord of the manor and, the governor of Worthy. So, for the entire time that Logain was the lord, Michelle was with him, is what Alexander told you.
I thought okay, so I understood that that they've been together since the start and it was 2 decades. For 2 decades. So
Yes.
my bad.
Yes.
So, also the fact that he returned with Michelle and suddenly his brother got sick. I mean, that's fishy as hell.
I wasn't
Um,
sure if it was appropriate to bring up the well, I guess it's suspicions of well, the slave trading business that we were looking into. I didn't think to mention it because I wasn't sure if it was something we wanted to openly discuss. I mean, like you said, we barely know him.
I mean, it could be related to this, but it's fine that you didn't ask, and I understand it. And even probably I wouldn't know how to ask about it in that sense. But I mean,
At least without drawing, well, more questions. More questions I wouldn't even know the answer to either. He's here for something. I can't read him. I don't know.
So far, I guess we can only cautiously trust him, I suppose. He's the only one who has actually talked to us. But if we are gonna do something tonight, then we just have to take the risk and hope he doesn't backstab us in a way.
Well, he does. We'll just have to
Fireball him?
Well, listen, I didn't say that. I did not say that.
I said
It is within my capability.
So you do like him?
Is that
I don't know him, Elaborn. Very little I know of this person.
Yeah, but it's not about knowing, it's about feeling. How do you feel? Guess it's a little knowing how you feel, but not really. It's feeling more than.
Huh. I don't know how to answer that, Elaborn.
As the sun begins to get lower in the sky and set over the walls, and this fog begins to culminate and come together and begin to fill the streets, you can see a bit of a quicker pace to some of these plague doctors that you notice. And instead of walking around watchfully, they seem to be heading somewhere with purpose. They're not all heading in the same direction, but each one that you do manage to spot through the fog seems to be heading to some specific place.
Are you guys seeing the same thing? I mean, I'm sure you can. Do you guys think they're gonna go stake out a house, kidnap people from?
I can cast Pass Without Trace. I don't know how useful it is.
It seemed to lessen the feeling that we're being watched, but it does at least a little bit of something.
Or I could use Detect, try to find disease again. I can't do both. Well, at the same time, at least.
Probably better to remain hidden.
Yeah, if we do want to follow them now, then, I mean, I am very capable of doing that without that spell. But I'm looking at around and, well,
So
Do
what's
we even want to follow them?
Well, we were told they tend people who are sick, you know, so they may be like taking care of people like real doctors, you know, right now.
Oh,
Or it could be super suspicious. I have no idea at this point. Where were we meeting Alexander? Because you were supposed to bring him here. So
Well, the sun hasn't set yet. It's not nighttime yet. Curfew isn't technically, as far as you know, enforced at this moment. But
Want me
it's
to go pick him up?
soon.
Wait, are we still by the graveyard?
More or less. But if you guys are going to attempt to follow one of these, the window of opportunity for that is closing. It's up to you, though.
Can I have Eva follow on and take over Eva?
You can. Go ahead and make a perception check. Just straight roll, no advantage.
Mine or Eva's?
If you're looking through Eva, then Eva.
18.
Okay. Despite the fog that is coming in, you do see Ava through Ava's as you follow one of these plague doctors as he or she it heads down a street, makes some turns, and quickly, still walking but at a quicker pace, does head directly to a building. It's in a residential area. It looks like just a normal plain looking house. He goes, opens the door, and heads inside. You're watching this for maybe about 5 or so minutes.
Can have Eva fly up and just sort of give me a general grasp of which direction they went?
Okay. So you do that, you return to your senses, and even in the short span of time that you had been out of your own senses, the fog has thickened a bit. You all have vision, maybe about 40 or 50 feet is the range of your vision. But even through that, you can see where Ava is hovering and just kind of circling above where she had seen one of these plague doctors enter.
I tell everybody else there's a doctor has gone into a house this way.
Right. Demetrius heads off in a direction.
guess we're following.
Okay. So it was about 5 minutes of them walking. So you keeping your eyes trained on Ava, and as the fog grows thicker and as the sun does eventually set beneath the horizon, it takes you a while, longer than you would think it should, to get to the location where Ava is. And before you do, as you're turning onto the block where you had seen the plague doctor enter the house, another one is there and looks to you as you go and speaks. Curfew is in effect now. Please head to your place of residence.
Sorry. I guess we got a bit lost in this fog.
Oh, it is not a problem. We should be lighting the roads here shortly. It should help you find your way. But please do vacate the streets as quickly as you can.
We will. Because
He stands to the side and with a nod. Stay safe, have a good evening. And continues. And as he disappears 50, 60 feet behind you into the fog, you can see the house where Ava is still just circling.
we should probably try to hide somewhere. Somewhere where we can still see the house. So we can see what happens to the people.
All right, so you're hiding and just staking out the house?
At least that's what Neri would like to do. I don't know about everybody else, because everybody else has been quiet.
Well, if we're going to duck into an alleyway or something near the house, I mean, how tightly packed are these houses? Is there a window?
In this area, you can find an alleyway where you guys can. It's like maybe two abreast, fit into it.
I can try to hide us, or yeah, I'll just do that, I guess.
What?
Just cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay. So if you guys are all hiding in the alleyway, watching the house is maybe about 30, 35 feet away. Everyone go ahead and make a stealth check and add 10.
$37.
Jesus Christ.
16.
16.
Wait, you said stealth and add 10?
Yeah. Pass without a trace gives you a plus 10 to stealth. So whatever your normal stealth is with your stealth bonus, and then 10 on top of that. Deland, what was yours?
16.
Okay.
30.
Nice.
So, 29?
Okay. You all feel sufficiently hidden, especially with the fog that is now just looming about waist height. It's thick at and around your waist, and more of like a clouded mist above that. But you guys stay and you watch 5, 10, 15 minutes pass with nothing. 20, 25 minutes. Nothing. How long are you guys waiting?
I don't know.
I will say, I will be worried that the innkeeper, I don't know, like, wouldn't he notice that we're not there past curfew? I'm asking.
It's
Maybe,
I
but
mean, the
he doesn't
place
know.
isn't the only inn. We didn't
that is true.
sign up for many nights, so we could have just chosen another.
Doesn't know your business.
I don't know how long you guys do want to stay and watch, but we also have to think about Alexander, I guess.
So all the while, Demetrius, you would know as Ava was watching that nobody came back out of the house. continuing here. Half an hour passed when you had gotten here and started laying low and watching. Nothing.
Are there windows on this house?
There are.
Okay, can I turn into a squirrel and go look into the window?
Sure. Turn
Okay.
into a squirrel. You go, you hop up, you look into a window. It's dark on the inside, but you can see into it. From what you can see, there are no lights lit or anything like that. You do see on sort of like a clothes hanger, like a coat rack type thing, is the entirety of a plague doctor's uniform with the boots there at the bottom, and a little bit further in you can see some of the long gloves that are draped over the back of a chair. Nothing else. You see another room that leads to somewhere else, but you can't see it from your vantage point.
Okay.
Can Eva fly down and start checking the other windows?
Okay. Not much more, if anything less from this point of view. There's not a window that you can see that leads to that other room. It's really just this one at the front here. At least two at the front here.
How are the streets?
Foggy. Very foggy.
Everyone's already inside
Not
from
another
curfew?
encounter with a plague doctor since you've been here.
Hmm.
So, since I've seen what I've seen, I'm going to scurry back over to the group and, I guess just turn back into an elf and be like, well, I saw that there's like doctor clothing in there, tripped over chairs and hanging up and whatever. I think it's just a person. And like the last one we encountered seemed like a person, but the ones we see in the city don't seem like people. So,
So there could be like some are actual like people, I guess you could say, and others aren't that much people. Which makes it even more creepier. But do you think that is just a house where one of the plague doctors live?
it could be. I mean, I couldn't tell for sure. I mean, we could go into the house, but at that point, we might be in trouble. Just direct trouble. I mean, if you want to go into the house, we can go in. I don't really, I'm a bit at loss.
I mean, the way you described it, it sounded like it's just a house, and maybe we just need to take the risk and not keep an eye out on it anymore, and we can hopefully come back tomorrow and see if it's boarded up. So I
That's an
doubt
idea.
it's gonna be, but still.
So, if we're not getting any more activity here, we should probably press forward towards the graveyard. Is it time yet, or is it too early?
I don't know. Didn't you set up any time with him?
It's nighttime, especially after here. It's maybe 45 minutes after sundown. So I don't know when you would, but it is after sunset.
Okay. I will send a message to Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
And let him know that we're headed towards the graveyard, and I guess ask where he's at.
Okay. Very well. I will meet you there. Maybe somewhere less conspicuous than right outside of the gates. I'll find you. Easier to find a group of people than one person.
Yeah. um.
How long did
No.
Pass Without Trace last?
It lasted
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yikes. Okay. Bueno.
It's done now.
Yeah.
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 It's all fine.
Let's
I was
see.
just thinking in my own head. Stupid things.
Okay.
Who?
So are you guys heading to around the graveyard or?
I'm not opposed to the idea. I wouldn't necessarily go up to the graveyard, but maybe near it.
Of course, not right up to the graveyard. That's just
Right.
way dangerous.
Who is
I'm
leading the
concerned.
way?
Not Mary. She got shit.
Well, I guess I'll do it, but like, yeah, I'll do it.
Sure, with Era at the front and everybody else following behind, keeping an eye out for like doctors and trying to keep as close to, moving quickly, but trying to stay out of sight. Era, make a survival or perception check, your choice, to navigate the fog and get to where you want to go.
It lasts an hour.
Oh, it lasts an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys
Nice.
would still have maybe about 10, 15 minutes on it. Thank you. What was your
12.
12? Navigating the fog proves difficult. And while you think you know where you're heading, you end up at the tavern, the first one that you had been in, the Crow's Call. Which is a bit strange. You know where you are now. You kind of come through and you turn a corner and you can see the tavern there. You've spent some time at it. It makes sense, but at the same time not, because the house that you were at was on the other side of the temple and the graveyard than this tavern, and you didn't pass the temple or the graveyard to get here. You must have taken some weird route that you didn't intend to or gotten turned around at some point.
This fog is. We didn't go the right way. I'll look around and try to reroute.
Okay. You know the direction of the temple and the graveyard from here. You still leading the way?
Yeah, sure.
All right. You want to make another perception or a survival check, your choice.
Oh boy. Okay. 16.
16? Okay. This time kind of now more focused, actually paying attention and peering through the fog as much as you can to think of things that you had remembered from your treks during the day. You do manage to find yourself in the right area. And within a few minutes of you being here, you see a figure, a silhouette, walking through the fog towards you. And as the silhouette takes form and you can start to see details, you recognize Alexander, very much in the same gear that you had seen him wearing outside of Worthy, with the leathers and chainmail, the crossbow on a sling over his shoulder. Well, it took you longer than I would have expected. I was worried that I had missed you.
No, we just
You can
I
see him.
got a little lost.
He just kind of raises a finger, and Elevorn is one of the more perceptive. You hear something through the fog. You don't see it. It sounds like a cart, wheels on cobblestone. and it's growing louder.
So I'll just grab people and start to head towards the wall.
Yeah, so you do that, and Alexander as well. You guys stay outside. I need everybody to make a stealth check. No pass without a trace, as it has faded by now.
12.
29.
Okay.
16.
Seven.
Oh no.
You would think I would fail, but I rolled 2 17s.
Wow.
The lower number is 17.
That's
no.
true. So, as Elavon hears this, and it seemed like Alexander did as well, Elavon starts to bring people back. Alexander does as well, and Era, you just start to like, what the hell are you doing? And he covers your mouth as you see and hear this cart sound growing louder, and you watch as maybe 4 or 5 plague doctors pulling and pushing a cart go by in the fog, maybe 30-40 feet away. You can just see the silhouettes, the bird beaked masks in the cart. You can see. Actually, make a perception check. Elavon, or who is anybody proficient in perception?
Me.
Anybody who is proficient in perception can make a check.
Ooh.
Unnatural 20.
Okay.
What? If there's
What?
a bubble next to perception.
Then you're proficient, right? Is that what that means?
It's
That's
a
what that means.
19.
Okay. So are you proficient in perception, Durand?
I am.
Okay, so you can make a check as well. What about you, Neri? You're proficient in perception, right?
Maybe in your dreams.
Ha.
11.
11. You're not able to make it out too much, Durand. You're more focused on actually being stealthy, kind of holding your armor close and preventing it from clinking. Elavon and Demetrius, you do see what looks to be cloth-wrapped bodies stacked and piled on the back of this cart. As they move further and further away, you peer through the fog and you can hear the creaking of metal gates opening and the cart sound disappearing into the distance, followed by the sound of the gates closing, slamming shut again. Alexander removes his hand from you, Era. I apologize. Did not wish to be found out. Forgive me.
No, it's fine. I should have been more perceptive of the situation.
Well, that is interesting, to say the least. If there was not a reason before to investigate this graveyard, I believe now there most certainly is. If that is, you all are still up for it.
Can I sit against the wall real quick and have Eva follow the cart through the gate? Or over the gate?
You want to go through the gate? You can go over it. The wall's only like 8-9 feet tall.
Over the gate. Over the gate.
Yeah.
She-
Okay.
Nothing. Just have Ava do what she's doing. Or,
Okay.
You know.
Flying high. Peering through Ava's senses, go ahead and make a perception check, straight roll. So no advantage. As the heavily obscuring fog would provide disadvantage, but Ava has advantage, so it cancels out.
12.
12. For the first little bit, maybe the first 30, 40 seconds, Ava follows this group of plague doctors in the cart that they're leading along the graveyard, but quickly it seems like the fog rises as it goes further into the graveyard, and you lose sight of them. You have a general direction, kind of. It doesn't really help much. They seem to be heading deeper, and if they continued, you can see maybe they're heading to... It's hard to tell. You couldn't track them long enough to discern any direction.
I will return to myself then.
Okay.
So, there are bodies on that cart. Or what look like bodies, wrapped in cloth of some kind.
Ah. Well, I guess the only way to figure that out is to actually go there and see, but...
So, what are you doing?
Well, let's go in. I don't know. Do you want to be sneaky about it? I don't know what we're trying to do, if we can be sneaky.
I guess the mist also kind of protects us to a little bit at least, and not just them. But I still think being sneaky is the best option, of course. But that's just me talking because you guys know me.
Well, if we are going to make
Continue.
our entrance, I believe we should do so further away from the gates, where they would be watching more carefully. The wall shouldn't prove too difficult to scale. Perhaps some of our either more perceptive or ones able to stay hidden best should go first. And once we are aware of a place where the path is clear, the rest can follow.
Around, I think I can get you in there once the others have found a good location for it. I can get you in there quite quietly, so you wouldn't necessarily have to climb over that small wall, but because you have that armor of yours.
Okay. Interesting. I'm curious. I trust you.
Yeah, you better. I would be very offended if you wouldn't trust me how long we have been together? And
Of course.
never
I
mind
just
that. Never
This one
mind.
a little over a year.
Neri doesn't keep track of time all the time.
All right. So oddly enough, around here, at least to your knowledge and sight, you don't see that many roving plague doctors. Keeping your distance, you know that there are some near the gates, but you head further along the wall, keeping some distance from the wall, but keeping it within sight until the wall itself begins to sort of take an angle and curve in the direction of the main wall of the city, and ducking around there. Who's going over first, I guess? Unless you're not going over the wall, I don't know. It seemed like you were.
I'll go if no one wants to. Can you give me a boost or something? Turn to the wrong.
Yeah. I think I can.
All right.
Tarand whispers to everything. You can barely hear him.
So, boosting Elevorn up easily, you peek over the wall, Elevorn, and you get a bit of a chill as just the side of the graveyard on the other side of this wall, it's almost like it's a completely different place, even though it's, only separated by a not too thick stone wall. But the air about this place it's creepy. It's a little bit creepy.
So, can I finish climbing up, I guess?
Yeah, you
Get
can.
on
You
top of the
absolutely can.
wall and kind of
You-
just, keep a lookout, sort of, to try to help
Alright.
maybe Era come up for.
Sure. Go ahead and make a perception check. Who else is going over?
I'll go over.
Okay. So Dadan just heave-hoing people,
Yeeting people over the wall.
Yeet.
chucking them over the wall.
Yeah, yeet.
That's a 21.
Okay. Looking around, the fog is thick, and you can see further in, away from the wall, further into the graveyard, it does get thicker. You can see the tombstones, the graves that are along the outer edge here. A lot of the stone, the headstones are very faded, to the point where you can barely, if at all, read what at one point was engraved on them, weathered with time. There are weeds and plants growing out in front of them, indicating that they haven't been disturbed or moved in in some time. As Era comes and makes her way down next to you, for a moment you can see a shifting, something around the ground, but when you focus on it, it's nothing. Wind, this weird fog. But it's strange. Past what you can see clearly, it does seem like there's a bit of like a sort of little bit of a swim to your vision along the ground.
Era,
The more you focus on it, the more it's almost like it's a trick of your eyes, and the more you focus on it, the less it appears that way.
so when Era gets up to the top, I'll just be like, don't get down. I don't know what I see, but it seems, I'm not sure, maybe there's nothing, but it looks like something on the ground in the fog. It's weird. Do you feel weird? I feel weird.
Could I maybe look to see where she was looking at?
You do. And as she points it out to you, you don't see what she's talking about. It looks normal. Creepy, yes, but normal. But as you look back to her, sort of out of your peripheral, you get the sense of what she was talking about, and you can kind of see exactly what she was talking about out of your peripheral. But again, when you focus on it, it seems nothing out of the usual as far as a foggy, quiet graveyard is unusual.
So I will very quietly into my bracelet go, there seems like there's something in the fog here. I can't quite make it out. It's almost like it's not there, but it is.
I get that feeling too.
Is Demetrius coming in or not? And probably we should wait at the top of the wall.
I'll
I'm
come in
gonna
if
take-
you're out. Give me a boost.
Yeet.
Sure thing, buddy.
Alright. Demetrius, you are assisted and you're over. Alexander takes a couple long strides, jumps, and with a quick two motion kicks off of the wall and goes from on top of it, and then kind of just lowers himself down on the other side.
So he's on the ground in the graveyard.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna drop down next to him and immediately point out what I saw.
Well, best find out what it is before they're done with their business. We should probably find those doctors before it's too late.
Yeah, just need to wait for everyone to get down here. And make sure everyone knows to be cautious of whatever this is.
Alright,
Yeah,
so now it's just Neredian and Durand.
yeah, Neri will whisper into the bracelet and is everything okay? And if everything is okay, could you guys, one of you use the bracelet and show me around a little bit?
So
Like-
I will.
The imaginary.
Yeah, I'll use the imaging thing to show her
Okay.
like the side of the wall.
So just kind of a little bit shaky. Just Elevorn uses the bracelet, and you get this little the gem on the back of the bracelet begins to glow, and you get this sort of little holographic FaceTime like image of what Elevorn is pointing out to you, and with that, you
Okay, Durand, are you ready?
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay, I'll use the dimension door.
okay.
Get us there.
Focusing on the ring, you take Duran by the arm, cast a spell, and for a brief moment, there's like this rip in space next to you, and this portal opens and kind of engulfs the two of you. And with a small crackle of arcane energy, Durand and Neredian just apparate before you inside the graveyard.
There we go. I didn't lose any body parts. You didn't lose any body parts, right?
You know, and then I'm pointing at the fog and just like, there's stuff in there. I saw it. I mean, maybe I didn't see it, but
Mm,
I don't know what it is.
I'll instinctively hold on to incendiary edge.
Okay. Well, you think we should attempt to find the path that they came in on, or a more roundabout way, maybe avoid? I don't know. Do you know if they spend much time here? How careful should we be?
Demetrius, you were talking about in here earlier. Were there a lot of people around earlier?
I only looked during the daylight. I cannot say for the night.
Were there a lot of people, like doctors around, or you know?
No, there was only an older woman, an elderly woman. I did not see any plague doctors.
Okay, so maybe there's not a lot around. I mean, there's what came in with the cart. We know that much for sure, right? And whatever's in that fog. Okay, let's just try to like not find a path. I mean, just kind of try to find our way to them without, because if we're on the path, then we might bump directly into them, But if we're amidst the headstones and stuff with whatever's out there, it might be more sneaky. I'm good.
Alright. You guys make yourselves your way further into the cemetery, into the graveyard. There's this uneasy feeling. It's almost like that feeling of being watched, but right now, the sort of adrenaline and tension and paranoia is your senses are on high alert. And it seems like just out of reach, just beyond your visual range of the fog, you feel like there is something at all times. But as you get closer, you move in that direction, you see there's nothing, but it always seems like just beyond the extent of your vision, there is something. Who's
May I
Sorry?
may I cast detect magic?
Sure. You cast Detect Magic. 30-foot range. You look around, you can see all of the equipment that you and your party are wearing. You can see nothing strange about any of these tombstones or the graves. You even pass some of these large stone like monoliths that, and even then, there's nothing. You can see on Alexander, there's a bit of a blue glow coming from that pendant that he was wearing, but that's it. But you have it up for 10 minutes. So.
What was the pendant he was wearing?
I described a pendant.
With a bluish glow, right?
Even when you guys first met him, someone was like, "Does he have like a symbol or something?" And I think it was Neri that looked for it.
Oh, that was me.
Oh, that was Demetrius. Yeah, Demetrius looked for it, and I described it. He was wearing it when you guys saw him without any sort of top on.
You but averted gaze, so Aaron, what's his pendant?
Aaron's not announcing this. Like, okay, pendant.
Ding, 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 pendant, pendant.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, other than our items, I don't really see anything significant. And I guess I'll keep note of his pendant, but I won't mention it.
Okay. Who's taking the lead?
That was my idea, so...
Alright. Where are you trying to go? You have a general idea, as much as Demetrius would have shared with you. You don't have, obviously, this like photographic blueprint map layout of the graveyard.
I'm trying to find my way to that pit. That's
To
what
that
I'm
pit?
trying to do. Yeah, because it's weird, and so that's the goal.
Go ahead and make a survival check. So you're like, okay, you kind of vaguely remember details. You remember it was past this house with a old lady tending plants in the middle of this graveyard. All right, maybe looking for that. I don't know, but
So that's 15.
how much?
15.
15. Following Elevorn, you look and you guys can see through the fog these two lights. And as you get closer, they sort of flicker and waver like torchlight. As you get maybe 60 feet away, you can see a dark outline of a structure, a house, with just these two like standing torches lit outside of it. And there's the sound of movement around you. This time, definitely not a trick of the mind. You can see as everyone kind of startled and looks the same direction. It sounds like something moving through grass or brush. But it's fleeting. Maybe a small animal. Kind of what it sounded like. You can see Alexander had started to reach for his crossbow, but
Mary has been keeping her hand on incendiary actually really tight grip on it.
Okay, so we see the house thingy, right? So maybe we just go up behind it
Hmm?
and see if there's like a window behind the house. You know, like we see a house, right? Like
Yes.
how close can we get before we're like, just obviously like visible, So we
Right
like
now,
try
it's
to go
hard to
behind it.
tell due to the fog, but you're anywhere from 50 to 100 feet away from it.
Could we approach from like try to get to the house like on the side that doesn't have the torches, or is there like a torch on either side so it's lit all around? Or
It looks like it's only has these torches at the front.
okay, so it's not like a Minecraft house, where you're like waiting for the zombies, so you put the torches.
No, it's not like
Alright.
a Minecraft house where you're waiting for the zombies.
Okay, good.
Oh man.
Zombies?
What are you talking about? There are no zombies here.
Exactly. There's no zombies. There's no zombies here. There's no zombies here.
Yeah,
There's no
Durand would be
zombies.
able to tell anyway. He's loving this.
Oh yeah, actually, may as well
So-
use that.
Wait, what?
I may as well use that.
Are you really going to use that?
Yeah, why not?
So you use divine sense? Do you have to
Yeah, I mean-
specify what you're looking for? Or
It
is it
just is. It's an area, 60-foot area.
Okay.
Let's see.
So as you guys are getting close,
within 60 feet. Behind
walking or
total.
following Elevorn, staying to the fog, keeping just this silhouette, this shadow of the house on the distance, keeping enough away that you know that the fog is probably obscuring you. Durand, after hearing this and kind of wanting to make sure that everyone around you is like safe and trying to get a beat on whatever might be moving just out of view, and you've had this nagging feeling since you guys have started this, you use divine sense, and you do get a sense of something very near, very close, uncomfortably close. And it's coming from Alexander.
Oh shit.
And that's what we'll pick up next week.
Oh no.
No.
Oh shit.
No, you can't leave us in the graveyard. You can't leave me there.
No. Poor Aira. The zombies liking Aira.
Just let me
Oh,
blow
no.
him up. It's okay. I'll feel better. I'm just kidding.
Oh yes, you would know what pinged on it was undead.
Oh.
So you get this uncomfortable feeling that on like right over your shoulder, and you look back and you can see just sort of unbeknownst to what it is you're doing, but this strong presence of undead coming from your divine sense, emanating from Alexander. But yeah, next.
Ouch.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Why? I don't like it when I'm right. Sometimes I like to be wrong.
Oh boy. Oh boy. This is gonna get interesting.
You're muted. We can't hear you. Taunting us with all of your knowledge of what's happening, actually.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know what I'm talking about, so
Yeah, you do. Stop lying to us and to yourself.
I'm not lying to you guys. I've never lied to you guys.
Except when you were that guy.
No,
True.
no,
Except on all of those times when you were that guy who lies to us.
no. That's not me lying to you. That's those guys are jerks. I would never.
Okay, put your tinfoil hats on. It's time to
Tinfoil Dude's like, get your tinfoil hats off. Nope, get them back
Right?
on. Right the fuck now.
Yeah. We stay on. We stay on for
We
this.
stay on all the time.
We're never taking them off ever again.
Man. You know, I should have expected you to do that, but, you know. It is what it is.
Mm.
Oh, good night.
Good night.